Chipies Ecosystem is a dream for a fair world. But why? Why do we say it is a dream for a fair world? Okay, let's see how inequalities prevail so that we understand why Chipies is a dream for a fair world. So, let's see the algorithm on which inequalities operates. So, across the world today, inequalities survive due to economic insecurity. So millions of people live in daily economic insecurity. Survival depends on unstable income. Institutions just give people salaries for them to be able to save some basic needs and come back to work next month. Access to opportunity is uneven. Wealth concentration continues to grow. So inequality is not accidental. It is actually a structure. So we need to hit that structure. We need to restructure in order to affect that algorithm of inequality. So also inequalities actually prevail through the world of hierarchies or bureaucracies. So modern systems often create employers and permanent laborers. They also create what are called power holders and dependencies. So as others hold the power, others depend on those who hold the power. Also, decision makers are just very few and everyone else is just voiceless. So too many people live saving systems they do not actually own, or they do not actually serve their own purpose, needs and wants. So we need to understand that hierarchies actually also contribute to a world that is a world of inequalities. We need to also understand that inequalities also contributes to survival, migration, and broken continuity. So in many regions today, parents leave families or their children in order to find work to survive. Children grow up without stability, communities weaken under economic pressure. So when survival dominates, civilization continues to suffer. So all those kind of things which actually perpetuate survival also perpetuate inequalities. So we need to hit that algorithm that is perpetuate survival in order to achieve a fair world. Okay, next, let's see how inequalities prevail. So inequalities prevail also through political power. So when political power equals to better life, when a country is yes, this kind of a structure whereby you say when you want to be rich, you join a specific party and become that person of that kind of a person who hold power and be able to thrive. That is how everyone else suffer because the voiceless are the majority. So political access in many societies actually determine economic opportunity. Political access, politics in many societies actually influence or creates privileges. It creates systems that rewards proximity to power. So a fair world cannot depend on political access for dignity. So we need to rethink in order to achieve a fair world. So we need also to redefine empowerment. I am not good in English, but I am so convinced that the definition of empowerment in action in today's world through NGOs, through different non-profit organizations or awareness or this kind of initiatives or companies that claim to be empowering people, as we are witnessing in today's world, that is not a pure definition of empowerment. We need to redefine empowerment so that it achieves its dictionary definition in action in reality. So often, empowerment is framed as aid programs, food support, short-term subsidies, so inclusion into existing systems, being included in some of the programs that aims to achieve some specific objectives and be regarded as as someone who is empowered. No, but support without ownership does not eliminate dependence, because when you are given a food stamp or a 50 kg of meal this month, next month or sometimes after 2 weeks you also need the same 50 kg. But those people who have written to have empowered you in their records, they forgot you for the next 5 years and they say we are moving forward to empower the next area. So that is not empowerment. empowerment without ownership, without giving every person power over his life, is not empowerment, right? So we need to redefine and understand the pure definition of empowerment itself in order for us to achieve a fair world. This is why I am saying Chipies ecosystem is a dream for a fair world. We will see why. So let's see the cost of economic exclusion, right? So that we understand the why behind a fair world. So when people lack money, when people lack ownership, healthcare becomes inaccessible, education feels insecure, housing becomes unstable, environment degrade in poor communities. So inequality impacts dignity, safety, and longevity. So we need to be able to understand how inequality affect people's lives, so that we understand why the algorithm of Chipies ecosystem is pursuing a fair world, right? Okay, so what real empowerment requires, or what a fair world actually requires? So true empowerment must include ownership. If I say I give you 50 kg of maize, I just give you, I have not empowered you. But in records, you are empowered. But if I give you an ownership of something that is going to benefit you over a lifetime, I have empowered you. So ownership should be not separated from empowerment. Economic participation should not be separated from empowerment. Revenue access should not be separated from empowerment. Transparent systems should not be separated from empowerment, because when I am empowered, I am supposed to be sure of everything that is going on over that system of empowerment, to make sure that I am not being exploited my value. So you need to also understand or need to be empowered with transparent over everything that is being claimed to be empowering you. We need also to understand what we call long-term value circulation, so that we understand that we are being empowered over lifetime. I have not been empowered for just the next 3 days, but empowered for life. So we need systems that allow for continuum value creation for us to, so value creation or long-term longevity or long-term value creation should not be separated from empowerment. So empowerment should be something that is structural, not temporal relief. Okay, now how Chipies addresses the structural inequality? Chipies aims to provide distributed ownership. So it's not something that aims to provide relief, but we aim to distribute ownership so that you hold something that is going to empower you throughout your life. So this is empowerment. We need to make sure that co-creatorship equals to participation, equals to ownership, equals to is something that can help scan, or that can actually be your legacy to your children. So we need to make sure that everything else is actually it's actually transparent. We need to make sure that there are secular revenue models within Chipies ecosystem, so that anyone who holds ownership within Chipies ecosystem would be empowered for life. We need also to make sure that there is this kind of multi-continental access, not a system that belongs to Zimbabwe, South Africa, Zambia, or etc. alone, but a system that also offers or cares about public good, social good, global wide. It should actually shift people from beneficiaries to owners to stakeholders of itself, right? So Chipies ecosystem should be able to achieve that in order to address inequality. So we have understood the things that are actually causing inequalities in today's world with this modern reality. We also explained or dived deep into how empowerment is actually misaligned and what empowerment actually requires. Now we have also seen how Chipies ecosystem actually aim to structurally address inequality. Now we want to see how a fair world actually operates, and the algorithm behind the Chipies ecosystem that allows it to actually bring a fair world, not only during this 20th century, but also through 21st century, 22nd century, spanning through civilizations. So a fair world is not built by slogans. It's not something that we can actually create a slogan around, like how many NGOs, like how many awareness programs, etc., many non-profit organizations, etc., different initiatives, they actually form slogans around an equitable world or inclusive world. But We can only build an equitable world, an inclusive world, through aligning incentives to distributing ownership, removing dependency traps, and creating a regenerative a regenerative ecosystem like Chipies ecosystem. So Chipies ecosystem is designed to move humanity from managed inequality to mass empowerment, right? So this is the algorithm behind why we say Chipies ecosystem is a dream to a fair world, right?